Hi, everyone. My name's Dave Meyer. I'm Group Product Manager for Cloud Enterprise at Atlassian. So I lead the development of our Cloud Enterprise plans for Jira Software, Jira Service Desk, and Confluence, as well as look across our other large-scale offerings for cloud, like our premium plans and Atlassian Access. Previously, I worked on the Jira development team across our deployment options, so server, data center, and cloud, working on administration and ecosystem for several years. And I spent time on our marketplace team before that. But it's super exciting for me to have the opportunity to finally join Cybert and participate in this event. And I couldn't be more excited to talk about one of my favorite topics, which is scaling Jira, making Jira more and more successful for enterprises. And so today I'm going to cover a couple different things, but primarily I want to focus on making sure that you understand what are not just the product offerings, the new features that are helping enterprises scale with Jira, but practices and tools as well. So what are the existing features? And then more fundamentally than that, what are the practices, the ways you can change the way your teams work, and the different frameworks that Atlassian provides to get the most out of the tools that we provide. And then on top of that, I'm going to talk a little bit about data center and cloud and how we're investing in both of those in order to make sure that both of them can scale for enterprise, and then dive a little bit deeper into the specific feature investments that we're making in each deployment option. And then finally, I want to talk a little bit about whether you're planning to move to cloud in 6 to 12 months or 36 to 48 months, or potentially you're not even thinking about it at all, but might be looking at SaaS as something in the long-term time horizon for your company. I want to talk a little bit about how you can start planning for that cloud future. But first and foremost, let's talk about why we're all here, which is that there are enterprise customers are growing, and they're growing in ways that are pushing the boundaries of what can be achieved with our tools. We see three primary factors that drive growth within our customer base. The first one is M&A and consolidation. So our customers end up acquiring other companies, or potentially you have a large company that has siloed deployments of Jira, and you're consolidating that into a single entity, and because of that, a single application of our tools. Our customers are also, for the most part, growing and growing substantially. And so as your customers grow, you grow, and then alongside that, your employee headcount grows. The number of things you're trying to do as a company and the amount that you're asking for your tools ends up growing as well. And then finally, external factors. So whether it's changes in regulation or different competitive dynamics or technologies that emerge that allow new businesses to be created, or businesses to be added to your enterprise. It is tremendously exciting when I step back and think that there are entire industries that require Jira to do their software development that didn't even exist when I started working at Atlassian not too long ago. You can actually take advantage of that growth and generate more opportunities for your company. So a growing company has more optionality. They have resources. They can reach out to new segments of the market. And if you're scaling your investments the right way, then you can create more specialization, which allows teams to support higher level business objectives. They can spend less time doing the day-to-day execution and more time trying to take on more strategic work. And then finally, if you can generate that flywheel model, eventually you start to innovate faster, you deliver faster, and that can grow customers and revenue faster and faster over time. And so in order to support that within Atlassian, among our customer base, we invest not just in tools like Jira, but also in practices and ways that you can apply both our tools and just the way you work as a company in order to support larger and large scale. So I'm going to give some examples of different scaling challenges that companies have, and how both practices and tools can help support them. But first, so the challenges that I'm going to walk through, the first one is team silos. So team silos happen when companies are growing and that growth isn't strategically planned in terms of a company org structure or org chart or communication processes. So you have duplicative responsibilities, or two teams trying to do the same thing at once, or team needing to work together but not communicating effectively, so they block each other, or they try to end up competing more than collaborating. And so our products and our practices are really focused on breaking down those team silos. The second one is quick decision making. Having joined Atlassian and watching Atlassian scale over the past decade, that's something that is top of mind for us as a company. So how do we make sure that you have you reduce the number of stakeholders, that you have clear decision makers, that you have a fast process, and the structures that you go through to make a decision ensure that you can make decisions quickly and clearly. And the third one is tedious and manual processes. So if you spend a lot of time doing the process because it's the process and not because the process is supporting some higher level business objective, then you can run into problems where even as you grow, you're actually becoming less efficient because people are wrapped up in processes instead of actually doing the things that move your business forward. So when it comes to team, so jumping into the first challenge, team silos. So team silos come from lack of sharing knowledge and sharing what they do. And so in our team playbook, we have a couple plays that help teams break down silos. The first one is called dependency mapping. And so dependency mapping is a framework that we provide. You can get it at atlassian.com/team playbook. And that allows you to understand it provides a framework for defining exactly what kind of dependencies you have, who those dependencies are on, and then how you're going to mitigate that dependency and communicate that dependency so that you can proactively manage it. And that's take at the project or start or on a regular basis. So for example, is going through a dependency planning exercise twice a year as part of our annual planning process and as a midway check-in through the process. And then on the other end, when projects wrap up or when you're looking back as opposed to trying to predict the future, you can run retrospectives. And that's when you discuss what worked well and what didn't so that you know how you can run the project better in the future. Obviously, any company that's doing agile software development is probably doing retrospectives of some kind. What we really encourage and what we found a lot of success with at Atlassian is running retrospectives across all of our teams and all of our projects, whether they're software projects or an HR project or a marketing campaign. We run retrospectives so that we can constantly learn and apply that agile philosophy to the rest of our business. And then on the tooling side, we've invested a ton in advanced roadmaps to help teams who are working in Jira plan their dependencies and achieve visibility about where their dependencies are going to create problems. And so you can see in advanced roadmaps, you obviously have your list of epics and your stories under it, but you can also define your team capacity, your which stories and which epics are assigned to which team, and review potential scheduling conflicts or capacity limitations that or dependencies that could cause problems later. The next challenge that teams tend to run into is as organizations become larger and more complex, decision-making tends to slow down. So you run into problems where it's unclear who the right approver is for a decision, or potentially you can't figure out if there can be a single approver and you have multiple people that all need to sign off on a plan before a team can move forward. And that slows down the team. And so we have two plays that I think really support faster decision making, and they one supports the other. So OKRs are critical. You can't have effective decision making without having effective goals. And we found at Atlassian, and obviously we didn't come up with it, but we found at Atlassian the OKR framework is critical for us to set clear and effective goals that can be communicated across all of our teams and internalize in a way that can accelerate decision making. So we set company level OKRs, big strategic goals over the course of a 12-month time horizon that we report on across the company in town halls for 5,000 people every single week or every single month, in order to make sure that we're holding our top leaders accountable for the big things we want to achieve. And then what we do is cascade those OKRs on down. So we have company level OKRs and then department or group level OKRs that we make sure to align to support those company OKRs. And then within smaller and smaller groups down to the individual product development team, in some cases, we set up OKRs, and we make sure that those OKRs can align to and those OKRs can align all the way up to the company OKR. And so when with the combination of OKRs and having clear communication about the prioritization of how we achieve those OKRs. So we're pretty explicit, and we say, like, this is our number one OKR. This is a second OKR, and when we don't have to make trade-offs, when we can do both things at once, we're going to try to achieve both of these things. But if it comes down to it and we have to choose one versus the other, we've got our OKRs in a stack ranked order. And then we apply that OKR framework when we're making decisions. And so I like to think that, if a well-written decision or a decision document, we use a framework called the DACY. There shouldn't have to be much debate about what the correct outcome of the decision is. So DACY stands for driver, approver, contributors, and informed. And it's just a simple framework for defining the background to the problem, the metrics and barometers that you should use to determine the right decision, and then the pros and cons of that decision and the data that can support it. And so a well-written decision framework lays out the pros and cons in a way that clearly differentiate the different options on the table, and then tie it back to the framework that, whether it's here are the relevant OKRs, or here's the thing that we're really trying to achieve, or here's the success metric for this project. And so I genuinely believe that if everybody's aligned on what the ultimate goal of the project is, and how we're evaluating success, and everybody understands the pros and cons that are available for each option, then and the relative correctness of each of those pros and cons, then it should be straightforward to come to a decision. And especially if you have a single person who is ultimately tasked with approving that decision. And then the third area that we see teams running into when they're trying to scale is tedious and manual processes. So, and that comes in a lot of different ways, whether it's I have to fill out this form over and over again, or we're spending a lot of time just doing the work in order to start doing the thing that we're actually trying to accomplish, whether it's filling out a page or documenting a process. And so that, we try to make sure that where possible, our tools provide ways to accelerate and eliminate those tedious and manual processes. So whether that's Confluence templates to make it so that you just eliminate the mental burden of having to say, like, all right, well, how do I want to structure this page? It's already there for you. Or on the Jira side, especially automation. Automation is a huge investment for Jira right now. So we have brought in automation as a native feature in our cloud products, as well as making it available for server and data center. And we're going to be investing significantly in Jira automation over the next several years. We believe that automation is fundamental to the future of Jira, because as our automation gets smarter, it helps our customers become more efficient and take on more and more complex business processes with Jira. We ran a major survey last year talking to customers about what benefit they derive from automation. And 87% of Jira users who have started automation in Jira says it's helping them scale the way that their company works. And almost every single one said that it's achieved significant cost savings of some kind. So those are some general practices and a couple of specific Jira features that I think are really key for enterprises that are trying to scale on Jira. But when it comes to Jira itself, there's obviously a really diverse set of use cases and different types of challenges that our various customers are running into. So when we think about scaling in Jira, we want to make sure that we're providing options for all of our customers that meet their needs. So whether that's the ability to run Jira for hundreds of thousands of users at massive scale, where you need extreme amounts of customization, or you're trying to scale your IT organization and move with more agility and flexibility, we're trying to make sure that we cover the whole spectrum of customer requirements over the next several years as we adapt to the shifts that we're seeing within the market. So, before I go further, we're phenomenally proud of the growth and adoption of Jira within our enterprise organization. I think back to 6 years ago when we launched our data center offering. And before then, it was remarkable when we had customers that were first starting to scale to 1 million issues, and now, we don't blink. We expect that many of our enterprise customers and some of our non-enterprise customers are well over 1 million issues. And so when we think about our enterprise offerings, we really see that over the next several years, we'll have 2 primary offerings for our enterprise customers. The first one is the data center deployment option, and the other one is the cloud deployment option. And these are where most enterprise customers are moving today. And so on data center, the primary value there is you're running on your own infrastructure. You have complete control over data management, but then alongside that, security and compliance for that environment is your responsibility. You're handling your own upgrades and deployments on your timeline, and you take primary responsibility, or with your partner and hosting provider, for making sure that you maintain solid uptime and good performance. But we've invested significantly in also making sure that we have an Atlassian managed option, as well as many of our customers have expressed like a clear desire to move to SaaS. And so with the cloud option, you're getting continuous innovation. We release features to cloud on a rapid basis, and it's always going to have the latest and greatest from Atlassian in terms of product development. We invested significantly in a security team with Atlassian. So one of the benefits of running on Atlassian's infrastructure is that we can invest in product security at a level beyond any individual customer. So we have hundreds of people that are running bug bounty programs and doing detailed security process and investigation to make sure that we don't have to that we're keeping track of publicly reported vulnerabilities and making sure that that's handled in our code immediately, and achieving better compliance with different industry certifications that we know our customers require. With cloud, you can go from having the idea to use Jira to be in the product creating your first issue in less than a minute. So there's extremely fast setup, and then you never have to worry about upgrades or maintenance. And then in order to make sure that we can promise you the same level of uptime that you would achieve on data center itself, we provide financially backed SLAs that guarantee levels of uptime and performance. So when we look at both of those offerings, we think that for different customers in different scenarios, you're going to require something different. And so we want to make sure that when you're thinking about administrative overhead, obviously that's going to data center is going to require a lot more in terms of overhead. But on the other hand, it has ultimate flexibility for meeting even the most complex kinds of operating requirements, whether it's heavy regulation or strict security or heavy customization. And then in terms of scale, obviously, we've seen customers scale our data center products to as further than we ever thought possible, and so it can reach a level of users that we can't quite support today in cloud enterprise. We expect that to shift over the future. We've invested significantly in making sure that our cloud products can scale to larger and larger users and take on more and more complex operating requirements. At the same time, we've ensured that we're working hard to make sure that the administrative overhead of running something like data center for the customers that need it becomes lower and lower over time. So you can run data center in a public cloud instead of running it on your own infrastructure. You can have zero downtime upgrades and simpler release processes that make it easier to run data center. So let me go through that in a little bit more detail. So starting with data center. And with data center, I want to start with Jira Software, and then I'll talk a little bit more about Jira Service Desk and advanced roadmaps for Jira. So with Jira Software, in Jira Software 8.6, we've invested a lot in not just the enterprise scale, but also how do we make sure that the teams that are using Jira can scale faster and work more efficiently and productively. So that's setting dates for future sprints, being able to see past sprints, and introducing a burnout chart. At the same time, we've invested in 8.6 and 8.7 with a lot of the key features that we know that Jira customers really need in order to keep pushing the boundaries of Jira. So Postgres 11, and more improvements to handle GDPR requirements, an improvement to embedded crowd. And the biggest ones that we think we're most proud of are introduction of rate limiting, so allowing you to get more scalability out of your APIs, a significant investment in improved audit logs, and OpenID support. Over the next couple of years, over the next 12 months, and then looking forward beyond 12 months for coming soon and in the works, we're investing heavily in making sure that our customers that are adopting Jira Align can improve how they pull data out of Jira and into Jira Align. And then on the user management side, which administrators consistently tell us is one of their biggest challenges with scaling Jira, introducing just-in-time provisioning so that you don't have to manually provision Jira accounts for all of your users in advance. And the things we're really looking into that we know have been heavily requested by enterprise customers for years are providing more flexible naming for your agile terminology beyond sprints and epics, and creating features beyond archiving to help you clean up your data. So things like identifying custom fields that are no longer used, and when removed would be able to accelerate the performance of Jira. On the Jira Service Desk side, obviously it benefits as well from the OpenID support that we introduced, as well as new features like bulk actions on queues. We're bringing the same auditing that we've shipped to Jira Software to Jira Service Desk. And then more importantly, and I'll show this in a second, investing significantly in change management and our CI and CD tool integration. So, and with the CI CD tool integration, what we're doing is bringing the Jira Service Desk changes to your continuous integration processes. So you can create a request to deploy a change in Bitbucket in Bitbucket, or you can see it in Bitbucket, and it can and you can make that request in for Jira Service Desk, and it'll automatically get connected to your CI or CD pipeline, along with the approval flows that you already have in Jira Service Desk today. And then in order to support IT teams who are serving customers better, we're introducing out-of-the-box templates that support not just IT teams, but the other types of teams, whether it's facilities or maintenance or HR, and the ability to set up those projects a lot faster. And then finally, within advanced roadmaps, we've made a lot of progress in terms of just making sure that things don't get stuck in advanced roadmaps. So with the ability to save views of your plans and export them and share those with customers, just better visibility of and clarity on that UI. And then making the tool more flexible. So the ability to edit sprint capacity directly, to edit future sprint dates, improvements to capacity planning. And that's where we'll continue to invest over time in terms of visualizing dependencies and making it easier just to use the tool and understand the data that you already have in Jira. On the cloud side, we look across where we need to invest in cloud to make sure that it meets the needs of our enterprise customers. And there are 6 big areas. The first one is security and governance. We know that while Atlassian invests heavily in security, our customers are expecting nothing but perfection, and so that's what we need to deliver. And so we're investing heavily in making sure that the data that you store with Atlassian is secure, and that we give you the tools to make sure that the right people within your organization are the only ones that can see it. At the same time, we're trying to meet global industry standards for regulation and compliance, and help you meet the standards that you're subject to, particularly when it comes to where your data is stored. We know that making sure that we can support larger and larger user counts is critical, probably the #1 thing we need to do to make cloud an option for more of our enterprise customers, while at the same time not compromising reliability. A number of customers have told us that they need better controls over change management. So I'm excited to share what we've come up with there and what we're doing in the future, and the same for extensibility. So starting with scale, performance, and reliability in the cloud, we've made a ton of progress, and we're really proud of that. So 2 years ago, in 2018, there was a 2,000 user limit for a single instance of Jira or Confluence in our cloud products. And over the last 2 years, we've increased that limit from 2,000 to 5,000 to 10,000. And we're targeting 20,000 and 35,000 over the next 2 years. So I think we're pretty understanding that for most enterprises, 2,000 users is a very low ceiling. We're starting to make exponential progress in terms of improving that performance, and we're confident that we can meet the needs of the vast majority of our customers when it comes to performance at scale over the next several years. And at the same time, we're backing that up in the Cloud Enterprise plan with a 99.95% SLA. We first introduced a SLA for our Cloud Premium plan last year at 99.9%. And with our Enterprise Edition, we're upping the bar further. 99.95% SLA corresponds to 21 minutes of downtime per month. And based on our research, that corresponds with the standard levels of uptime that most of our data center customers are achieving today. On the compliance side, we've invested pretty heavily in making sure that we we understand what compliance and regulations our customers are subject to, and then where we can make the biggest difference and make our products viable for the most customers over time. So we're investing heavily in achieving FedRAMP certification for Trello, Jira, and Confluence, as well as ISO 27000 for status page and Jira Align. And as well as just working with our customers, whether that's Australia and they're subject to APRA, or in the EU and subject to more stringent regulations in certain European countries, but making sure that we deeply understand what's required for each type of certification and are continuously progressing towards delivering those. For administrators who are administering our products, with the Cloud Enterprise Plan, we were really taking a big step forward in governance, because what it introduces, and this is something we've never offered in server or data center or cloud previously, but it's the ability to have multiple instances under a single license. So with Cloud Enterprise, you'll be able to buy a license for a number of users and then grant those users a seat on multiple instances if required. And so there are a couple different scenarios where we see customers setting up environments where they have more than one Jira instance, whether that's looking internally at Atlassian even, that's we have a separate Jira for our HR data, for our financial data, for our security data that allows us to segregate sensitive data for employees a little bit more, as well as the Jira development team has special requirements for its customization. The support team has special requirements for its customization, as well as more general purpose Jira instances that a larger number of development and non-development teams collaborate on. And so we wanted to bring those benefits that Atlassian has to our customer base and give you the ability to purchase a number of users and then set up the instance environment that maps to the business requirements that your company has. That gives you a lot more flexibility. So we're really excited to introduce that capability and see customers who are adopting cloud benefit from it. We've invested significantly in data residency over the last 18 months. And with the Cloud Enterprise Plan, we're introducing data residency and the ability to guarantee that your data is hosted in either the European Union or the United States. So that's a new capability that's based on our global presence of having data centers in a number of countries, and then the new ability to restrict which data is stored into a specific data center, and providing you visibility into what data we have and where exactly it's stored. At the same time as we invest in something like data residency, we're also trying to make sure that the team that on the cloud side, we're introducing new capabilities to make those teams more efficient. So we've introduced new native desktop apps in Jira Software that allow users to use Jira without having to fire up a browser. It speeds up load time. We're achieving faster performance in those desktop clients, and it provides a really smooth and intuitive experience for users. And then finally, one of the biggest concerns we see for enterprise customers is around apps and extensibility. And so making sure that you can achieve the same levels of customization and take advantage of the same apps from our marketplace in the cloud that you have in server or data center. So over the last 12 months, we've doubled the number of cloud apps that are available in the marketplace. And more critically than that, we know that our products don't live in isolation, and that as our customers move to SaaS environments, we're in good company. And there are many other products, whether it's from Microsoft or AWS or Datadog, that are also being moved to SaaS. And so we've invested in creating strategic partnerships and first-party integrations that are built by either Atlassian or by our partners to really make great connections between Jira and the products that those partners provide. So if you're thinking about whether it's in the next 6 to 12 months or in the next 36 to 48 months or potentially further on than that, but ultimately moving to a cloud future, we know that it's a partnership across Atlassian. So we need to work with you. We need to work with your administrators, potentially your partners, in order to help you cross that bridge and get to the cloud. And so over the last 2 years, we've invested heavily in making sure that we understand what that migration lifecycle looks like, and we can help customers step through the process to get it there. So, and that starts with assessing: am I ready to move to cloud? Am I ready for this migration? And so we provide a lot of resources on how to do that cost benefit analysis, how to start evaluating your total cost of ownership, and comparing the security and compliance and performance and scale and analysis that's required to know whether your organization is ready to move to cloud and what the benefit you'll achieve will be. And then our migration planning. So making sure that you understand how you're going to execute your migration, which apps are going to be available, and how you're migrating your app data, and then potentially cleaning up the data that you have in server and data center in order to actually run the migration, making sure that user management is sorted out and users will be able to log in post-migration, testing and executing that migration. And we support you with, we've been training our partners significantly in order to help support enterprise migrations, as well as building up our own internal migration support team and providing new benefits like weekend support for migrations, that you can run migrations when you have the least amount of downtime. Actually executing that migration and then making sure you're successful post-migration. Just to illustrate that a little bit further, I wanted to focus specifically on our performance and scale analysis. So this is something new that we're working with customers that really are pushing the coming in at the higher end of our performance and scale requirements in cloud right now. And so we've broken it up into two parts. The first is an objective performance analysis, and the second one is a subjective performance analysis. So with the objective performance analysis, what we do is we actually ask you to send data from your server or data center instance, and that analytics data goes to us, and we're able to analyze exactly how your data set is configured. So how many custom fields you have, how many different projects you have, the static data you have, as well as the usage load. So where are your requests coming from? Where's the heaviest amount of usage geographically? And we can analyze all of that and make sure and provide more details on exactly where those different bottlenecks might be, where we're seeing a lot of views, and then being able to benchmark that across our cloud products and our data center products to make sure that you're going to be able to achieve equal or better performance in cloud to what you have in data center. And at the same time, we work directly with individual end users of the products to understand perceived performance. So we interview them about their experience to understand, okay, how fast do you feel like using the cloud version is compared to the data center version? So this is an example of the level of investment that Atlassian is providing when we partner with our enterprise customers to make sure that cloud is not just an option that you go to for any various reasons, but it actually provides the best possible experience for users themselves. So if I take a step back, when you're thinking about growing your Jira deployment as an enterprise company, whether you're on data center or on cloud, I think Atlassian is in a better position than ever to support the needs of our enterprise customers. And and I'm excited to see what you can all achieve with our tools. So thank you very much for having me, and it was a pleasure. I'm looking forward to hearing your questions.